All right, we should be live up in here. So this is probably one of my favorite trainings because I get to talk about no matter where you are in your journey, how do you make the shift? Well, not only in your journey, but in any market, how do you make the shift from agent to owner? So that is the conversation today. And the subtitle here is how to profitably navigate the 6 stages of business growth. So let's get the party started. If you don't have a copy of my real estate business growth navigator, wherever you are watching this, just comment roadmap. So wherever you're watching this, just comment roadmap and we'll get you a copy of that. And that document is way more in depth than anything I'll go through on this live. So make sure you grab a copy of that. It's going to take you through all the 6 stages, every bit of what I go through today, but like 10x deeper. So make sure you grab a copy of that. So why are you here? Hopefully this is not a random squirrel that you're chasing. If you don't know what a squirrel chaser is in business, it is something that is distracting you from what you should be doing in business. And so hopefully that is not this. You're probably here for a handful of reasons. So if you've been in the business for a long time and you haven't achieved your goals at the highest level, perhaps it's time for a change. Let's say you're achieving at a very high level, but you've come and you've sort of fought the good fight, but you've come up against a wall. So it's sort of against all odds you've achieved in our industry, but it's traditional success and there's no freedom in it. Perhaps you're running an awesome business and there are just gaps and you push toward one stage, and the stages will make sense here in a minute when I go through them. You push like out of one stage into another and maybe it kind of, pushes you back. Some of you know that you need to work on quote unquote your business, but you don't really know what that means. Most of you though are here because you want to go further, faster, and that's just what we're going to do today. So my guiding question for you, and I'm always posing these questions. Do I have a clear roadmap in place to build a highly profitable, systems-driven business so that I can systematically grow my net worth and have more time to enjoy the things that truly matter in life? That is a mouthful, but on a scale of 1 to 5, 1, the answer to this question is not great, right? You don't have a roadmap. You're not getting any closer to a business that lives outside of you, and you don't have a lot of time to enjoy the things that matter most in life. A 1 or a 5, like you're absolutely crushing it. Take a mental note. I'm going to constantly push you guys to think about where you are in your business journey and how you could take it to the next level. So how do we get there? I have some sort of high level thoughts before I go into the 6 stages. You have to believe that it's possible that a couple things, that you can build a business that doesn't require you work evenings and weekends, that you're able to grow. And you have to believe that you could do it in a market where we're probably going to lose minimum 30% of agents. Minimum 30% of agents in the next 12 to 24 months will not have a real estate license, right? There's just less income available because lower transaction volume is happening in pretty much every market. You need to become obsessed with building a business rather than just doing the next transaction. So you need to be able to see the forest through the trees. What are you building right now? Are you going from deal to deal, sort of transaction treadmill, or are you actually building something that has value? As you look at your business, every system you build is an oil well. So if you look at your lead gen levers, do you have lead gen levers, your database, expired direct mail, perhaps home search leads, for sale by owners? Do you have oil wells that are running in the business and they run without you putting much effort into them? And then you need to go deep and not wide. So if you want to go from 100,000 to 500,000 to $1 million to $1.5 million in GCI and work less hours and systematically increase your net worth, it is not this shotgun approach where you're going to do everything. This is a go deep in the business, not wide. Business is not complicated. This is a very simple business, and you have to squeeze the lemon. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities to not only get distracted, but to kind of do something. Let's take home search leads, for example. You could buy some pay-per-click leads and say they don't work, or you can go super deep on that lead source and get every drop out of those leads with text sequences, with different call sequences, email sequences, and optimize the heck out of that system. And here's a reminder. I say this quote almost every training that I do. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So every one of these stages requires that we put systems in place. folks in Real Estate B School. If you're in our world, you know that that's our obsession. These systems are essentially swipeable and deployable if you're in our world. If you're not, consider coming into our world, but you have to think about your business as a system of systems. So, and this is the overlay to the game that we're playing, right? We're generating opportunity on the left side. Our goal is to have raving lunatic fans come out the other side that are going to sing our praises, that we can recycle back into the business, and it becomes this virtuous cycle. So let's get into the 6 stages of growth. And really doesn't matter where you are in any of these stages. I'm going to kind of break this down in a way that's helpful for you no matter where you are. And here's something I will say. Even if you're at, let's say you're at stage 2, which is 100 to 500,000, but you're not progressing past stage 2, or you can't get over the $500,000 hump, you may have dropped something that you were doing in stage 1 that allowed you to get to stage 2. So these are all, they're building blocks. They all build on each other. So stage 1 is where you're really excited. This is where 90%, I would say, I don't know the exact number, but a good percentage of the industry lives in the 0 to 100,000 GCI, gross commission income, annual gross commission income. Your business freedom index, if you've heard me talk about that, that's the money you can make per hour, essentially in real estate. It's pretty much capped at 25, probably $25, $30 an hour, perhaps, if you're working full time and you're making less than 100,000. You may not even be working a full 40-hour work week. It feels like it's an exciting time, but you're very naive at this point, because there's an 80% dropout in real estate. So you get your license. By year 2, 80% of agents don't renew that license, and traditional methods are failing. That's the result of the traditional methods that are out there. They're failing the industry. The question you need, or the question you're asking yourself, not the question that you need to be asking yourself, but it's this constant worry about where's the next deal coming from. To graduate, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on the start stage, because that's not really where, I think if you can't get to 100,000, you probably aren't resourceful enough. You're probably not digging in and doing the work of a salesperson. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but we want you to be able to at least figure out through grit and hard work and resourcefulness how to get 10, 15 deals, right? So I'm going to kind of pass through this one. But to get to the next level, there are keystone habits that you have to put in place. New business development time, lead follow-up, right? And skills building and a determination to grow. So you need to build your sales skills, your buyer sales skills, your seller sales skills, all of your scripts and dialogues, right? This is the stage you do that, and you obsess over that so that you can blow through the next stage, which is stage 2. And you're just a solo agent at this point. The ramp stage is 100,000 to 500,000 in GCI. This is, a little bit better. You're probably working a little bit harder. You're hopeful, but you're really, really busy, and you're wondering if there's anything more to life than real estate. That's sort of like you're working all the time. Your spouse is pissed off at you. The question you're asking yourself is, where do I need leverage the most? So in order to go from, let's say, 25, 40 deals, somewhere in there, to 75 to 100 deals, it's all about leverage. It's stopping. Don't do the things that you don't need to do once you take this mindset that you're a business owner, right? So where do I need leverage the most? You have to delegate your administrative tasks. You have to delegate your administrative tasks. That's the critical piece here to graduate to that 500 to a million, which is stage 3. You want to leverage lead gen. So you need to set up those oil wells, a couple of them, each good for 50 transactions, maybe a third one, so that you can build enough of a pipeline of new business so that you can build momentum into stage 3. And then it's all about selling. You're obsessing over selling. Everything you can do to get to the front stage. The key hire here is one admin, maybe a showing agent, right? But it's not a big team. I've seen a lot of folks have no reason to build a team, yet they do it, right? So your goal is to get to 500,000 GCI with a very lean team, part-time administrator, maybe going full-time at that point, maybe a little bit of help on the showing side, because you're going to lose your mind here if you're showing homes every evening and weekend. Stage 3 is the build stage. So this is where it gets fun. This is where you're through 500,000 annual GCI, but you're under 1 million GCI. You could work a lot of hours here if you fail to put the right admin in place in stage 2, and if you don't have support on the showing agent side from stage 2 as well. Now, each of these stages, let me step back a bit. Each of these stages, I'm describing them as if you know you're going to the next stage. I didn't, right? I went through these 6 stages and took me like how long? 5, 6 years. So, in my year 6, I think I did 3 million in GCI and I worked 42 days or something like that. So I was fully in the owner stage, in the own stage, but I was kind of tripping through the different stages. So the beauty of this layout is that you get to decide, okay, I only ever want to have $1 million real estate business. And this is what it's going to look like, right? So we can craft a vision of what that could look like. So at the sub 1 million, so 500 to $1 million, you're probably working 50 to 60 hours. You're hitting a ceiling as far as time and stress is concerned. So a lot of folks sort of trip into the build stage. They don't have a clear roadmap and they can't push through that million, or they can't sustainably run the business that they've sort of forced themselves to put together, right? They did it with brute force, and that's not what we want. The question you need to ask yourself, this is all about systems. So what systems do I need to build or firm up? What systems do I need to build and firm up? Systems are a business, right? You are not the business. If you're watching this and you're doing everything in your business, that's not a business. It's just likely a very lucrative job, and we don't want that. And at this point, you still have that one admin. Maybe you added a couple agents to get to $1 million. So not a very big business, right? You could have one full-time admin, a showing agent, and maybe one buyer agent, and blow through $1 million and still work less than 50 hours a week, right? We've seen that happen before. All right, the next stage is called it's called the ramp stage. What was that? Build. Oh, I went backwards. So stage 4 is the lead stage. The lead stage. So this is where you're over $1 million, under 1.5 million. You're working reasonable hours because you're fully out of buyer production. You're somewhat uncomfortable here because you're learning new skills and you're letting go quite a bit. So you're feeling out of control. And I'll say every part of this journey is uncomfortable. There's no part of it that's comfortable unless you have an experience building a business before. I didn't have that experience. But the question you're asking yourself is, how do I help my team members get ahead? So it's not about you anymore. You're establishing a culture and a cadence that is critical, and probably pre-hiring anyone, the economic model. And at this point, you're running proper economic model. So you're making more money by being out of production because you're not sort of attached so much so to transactions, right? You're still doing listing transactions, but you're out of the buyer transactions. Maybe the second admin is hired in this stage, maybe 1 or 2 more agents, but it's mostly about getting your existing agents productive. The 5th stage is called the exit stage, exiting production. So if you have a desire to exit production, this is when you could do it responsibly and still make really good money. In fact, your business freedom index can reach as high as $500 per hour. And your hours can go down as low to 3 full-time days, maybe 3.5 days, 30 hours a week or so. Success through others can be scary. More letting go, more trusting. And the question is, how do you grow transformational leaders? The ultimate end game in a $3 million, $2 to $3 million real estate business is you're managing a couple leaders, 1 sales, 1 operations. That's it. So that's the question. The systems that you put in place for client care, lead gen, sales, it's all about systems. And you're elevating 1 ops person and 1 salesperson. And they will allow you to make it to the next level, which is 2 million plus. You have a full-time ops manager at this point, maybe 2 to 3 admin, maybe 6 or so highly productive agents. And the last stage is the own stage. This is 2 to 3 million plus. This is where I was able to make 3 million, not 3 million, 3,000, a little over $3,000 an hour. Our team, essentially my first full year in real estate was 2008. And I did 44 transactions with a part-time administrator turned full-time. And then a handful of years later, there were 10 producing agents doing 453 transactions. And I worked 42 days. So that's the whole journey, right? So it's all culture, all cadence. That's doing all the heavy lifting, right? You're making the shift from production, being an agent, to a manager, to a leader. And there's even more discomfort when you become an owner, but you can take your hours down to, I've got past members that are working, 60 to 90 minutes a week, and they fully stepped into the own stage. I've got others that are, they go into the office 4 days a week and they're working 20 to 25 hours. And the question is, where can I have the greatest greatest impact, not just in the business. Yes, for sure. Maybe the business could be have some other ministry or purpose. But how can you have impact outside of the business, right? In your family, in your community, in the world, right? So this is, the couple leaders, a sales leader, ops leader, 3, 4 admin, and maybe, 7, 8 plus super productive agents. So that is the journey. It's a lot. I put this page in here just so you can take a screenshot of it if you were interested. Make sure you grab the full Real Estate Business Growth Navigator. This is like a 17-page document where you could just read it word for word, all of these stages. And if you want to go further, faster, really lock arms with us, just grab a growth assessment. So go to rebsgrowthassessment.com. We're going to get clear on how to grow your business in this super challenging market. And that is all I've got for today. I only have love and respect for you guys. Be good. We will see you on the next training. Much love, much respect. Talk soon. Bye-bye.